Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show. Today, we will be reviewing
my all-time favorite movie and my all-time favorite superhero movie, The Watchmen. Originally adapted from the comic book The Watchmen by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons. Growing up, I wanted to be able to read this comic book, and even though I worked in 7 or 8 different comic book stores, including a comic book store when this came out, I was absolutely unable to get it, even working at a store. It had come out of nowhere and was impossible to get copies of. They'd all been pre-booked and pre-sold before I even knew what it was, and I heard so much about it that I, would often go back and forth looking for copies of it, and it was just incredibly expensive, $20-$30 an issue, and I don't remember how many issues it was until I eventually just kind of put it on the back burner and thought someday maybe they'll make a graphic novel and I'll get it. And believe it or not, I actually got the movie before I got the graphic novel. It came out, and I didn't get to see it in the theaters for whatever reason. I'm not a big movie theater, attendee for the most part. It usually takes something pretty big. And I wanted to go see this, but it for the most part, came and went and slipped under my radar. And, I didn't think much about it. And then I saw, it available for DVD, so I grabbed it. And, of course, I absolutely loved it. That's why it's my favorite movie of all time. And I was then inspired to go out and find the graphic novel, and I was lucky to get it for
not that much.
Yeah, it was like $20. I think I paid cover price for it. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't hard to get or anything like that at all. And as we'll go into in a moment, this is one time where the movie is better.
Remember, this is coming from the guy who thinks that if you're making a movie adaptation of a previous work, not only should it be very similar to the original material, but it should be a word-for-word copy, which he says that this is the only... Please. There. He says that is the only exception,
Yep.
Despite the fact that I can name multiple exceptions, and
Right.
I'm just going to start with Iron Man and then leave it at that.
Mm-hmm. He's right. He's not wrong at all.
His one exception is far from a single exception.
Okay, too.
I could go on further.
Okay, well, we're not gonna. But everything about this is as close as I'm willing to accept. The changes made here into the movie are all for the better. Mind you, there's a whole lot of material in the graphic novel that's not in the book. I mean, it's pretty thick.
The movie?
Right. And there are a lot of pages. Let me find some where it's pure text like this. It's like a novel. It's pure text, and there are many pages like that throughout the novel, where it's like a paperback book or something like that, and it's lots of extra information in to add to the lore, because while this is a DC Comics production, it's set in a completely different world, without Superman and Batman and things like that. And even right up here, one of Time Magazine's 100 best novels. They're not wrong. It's I'm not going to say it's even in the top 10, but it's easily, for me, probably in the top 20 of things like that that I've ever come across in my life. Now, I asked the little guy to watch this movie, and of course, he heard some things about the movie. We're not going to talk about those things because they weren't as bad as he thought, because people exaggerate.
I'm not going to say they're not as bad as I thought, because their existence is bad enough.
You know how he is about certain things, folks. But
yes.
I asked him, because we're doing a superhero month, and we wanted to, do
strictly avoid DC and Marvel. Look where we are now.
I don't remember saying that at all, because that would have been impossible.
You did say that.
I asked him, look, let's watch it for 15 minutes, and if you don't like it, you can go do whatever you want. I'm gonna watch it, and if you don't want to, participate, I'll just review it on my own. I can do that. I've done it before. It's not a big deal. And I didn't say anything. I kept quiet through the whole movie.
There were several times where I was thinking of saying, 15 minutes is up, I'm out of here.
But he didn't.
No, because I forgot halfway through.
Why?
Because all those moments were before the halfway mark, and by the time we got to the halfway mark, I'd forgotten about those.
Oh, it's not because you actually enjoyed it and you were glued to the set? Because you have to admit, those first 15 minutes are incredible.
Is there a reason you chose 15 minutes?
No, I just wanted to be fair, because I knew you'd get up to, the comedian going out the window and a few other things, and the music, Times They Are Changing by Bob Dylan. You would get past that, and you'd see all the politics, which I knew would be something he would love.
The thing that affected me most is ever since I saw this movie, it's now in my brain that Richard Nixon was president for 3 terms.
Right, which is not the case, but
no,
but
that has never been.
But
the case.
I could tell he was getting into it, and I wasn't going to say anything, and I was enjoying watching my favorite movie with my favorite son. So I thought, I'm just going to keep my mouth shut. We're going to sit and see how much he can take. I knew certain scenes were going to come up, and trust me, on the we've got like a 40 some odd inch TV.
We don't know.
Yeah, I'm not going to measure it. It's not a big deal. So I knew certain scenes weren't going to be as, crazy as, on the big screen, if you guys know what I'm talking about. Because we're not going to talk about that. We're just going to gloss right over it. But let's go over the characters real quick, because there's not a lot of characters.
Sure, there's not a lot.
Your favorite character? Tell them.
Rorschach is the best character, no doubt, and if you disagree with me, you're objectively wrong.
Okay. For me, my favorite character is Vite. Ozymandias.
I don't remember that.
He's the bad guy at the end.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah.
He's in like 3 scenes?
Yeah, he's not in much of the movie, but at the end of the movie, it turns out that, he's the bad guy, and he was, for all intents and purposes, one of the superheroes that you were supposed to, see and go, oh, he's rich, and so he's not hanging out with these, low class, low powered superheroes doing their thing, trying to find the bad guy when it was him all along. I'm not spoiling it for anybody, and if I am spoiling it for you,
You just did.
Yeah, this movie's like 20 years old. Bummer. If you haven't seen it by now, you're missing out. What'd you think of Night Owl?
Decent.
Yeah, he's my second favorite character. He, obviously he's a ripoff of Batman to a certain extent.
Not entirely, just visually.
Yeah, but because he's a very interesting character. He's flawed. He's not perfect. But
it's almost like that's how characters are written. And oh no, I was about to say something good about this. Oh no.
This movie is full of flawed, humans, with some with powers, some without, and the ones without the powers are actually kind of the coolest. Rorschach had no powers. He was just tough and skilled, and did what he did because he didn't have a choice. He couldn't live with the world that he saw, and Night Owl took the mantle over from the previous Night Owl, which is something I really, really like. It started with the Phantom for me, passing on the superhero costume and an identity and that sort of thing. For me, just really, resonated, and just, for me, it's just something I really like when that happens, when, whether it's father to son or, like in the Phantom, different people to different people. Eventually it goes to father and son, but they pass on. Even the Princess Bride, the Man in Black, he got his costume and persona from somebody else who got it from somebody else. I just really, really, really love that. Your least favorite character?
Probably the. I don't know. Maybe the one.
Really?
Yeah.
Even because during the movie you absolutely hated somebody else.
I don't remember who that was.
The comedian.
Oh yeah, I don't know why nobody shot him earlier.
It's funny because
I for some reason in my mind it just like he died in the first few minutes and then like he's brought up throughout the entire movie,
Mhm.
but I just forgot that he was actually in the movie. But well, he is.
He's your least favorite character?
Did you?
Okay.
Well, no, the woman I don't remember her name.
I think it was Sally Jupiter. Yeah,
Maybe.
she's really kind of.
It's not that I didn't like her, though I didn't, but I just didn't much.
She was kind of boring in a way. And
I didn't. But I'll say I don't remember much about her,
Mhm.
other than that. Other than I don't remember liking her,
Mhm.
but I also don't remember having any particular, like in my brain, when I was thinking of of things that were happening, people that were in the movie, she was rarely a part of that.
Yeah, she's very.
She's definitely important and she's in the movie.
Mhm.
She was definitely in the movie. I'll say that.
For me, my least favorite character is probably probably her as well. Although Dr. Manhattan's tied for least favorite character, and not just because of the thing we're not going to talk about.
Oh, he's doing the thing again.
Yeah, he's we gotta just start locking him out of here when we do this.
We should have done that earlier.
But between Sally, or if I got her name wrong, if that's her mom's name, but I think Sally Jupiter, that was her name. She's just really kind of boring and predictable, and just something about her. She's just sure she can fight real well, but it's just and Dr. Manhattan is just so powerful and so arrogant and so removed from humanity that he's just he's kind of boring. He was boring as a human being, and with all those powers, he became even more boring. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just it didn't get better for him. He's kind of a tragic character. They all are really. That's one of the things that makes this movie so good, is that they're all tragic characters and they all have to go through this story, and and try to make it through the best they can, and they don't all. I wanted to go back to the comedian real quick because I know beyond a shadow of a doubt he's the most popular character in the world out of this story, for whatever reason, probably because he's such an awful bastard, that he, in this world that we live in, is the most popular character.
Also, probably because of the funny pin.
It's not just the pin. It's just, especially in the gaming world, there's so many people that I run into that's the character they play. Somebody like that. They're trying to be that, that kind of hard ass who just, is just there to kind of be a murder hobo. Just
Which
kill.
I suppose brings some merit to your bizarre theory of morality in games.
And I was really surprised and proud of my son for his reactions to the comedian throughout the movie, especially the horrible things he does.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Even when he breaks down with Moloch, his arch enemy, and tells him what's going on, I had no sympathy for him whatsoever.
Oh, I forgot about that.
It's like, you know what, you're just an awful human being. You are a villain. You were, why you were accepted into this group is just.
Also, didn't he shoot the president?
Yeah, he shot. In this universe, he is responsible for killing Kennedy on the grassy knoll, and a lot of other horrible things. And he was just there. I've met a lot of adrenaline junkies that were similar in real life to him in a lot of ways, and acted like him and did things like him throughout my life. And for me, it's not something to idolize or emulate. Even though I've known half a dozen people that did do those things, and I was really proud when the little guy was reacting the way he did. I realize he's young.
You should realize that
Well, you're a good person, and you would never do any of the things that he did. You certainly wouldn't kill Kennedy, and you certainly wouldn't do the things in Vietnam that he did, and elsewhere. And I hope to God he never has to go through anything like that. but
Yeah.
you know, we're going to wrap this up in just a second here, but for those of you who haven't seen this movie, or just only read the book, I really urge you to go out and see this movie. The cinematography is just phenomenal. The fight scenes are, in my opinion, some of the best hand to hand fight scenes ever. I know some of it's over the top a little bit. It's
Not as good as Bill.
and it's not is crazy as Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, or Hidden Tiger, whatever that movie was. I saw it once, and
I don't.
it was just so crazy over the top.
I always forget that movie exists.
Or I was just talking about it a while ago with Bruce, the movie Equilibrium, because those gun katas, those fight scenes were pretty intense, but the fight scenes in the Watchmen, and just all of the cinematography just all rolled up into one, from the very beginning with the very opening with the comedian and his attacker. It was just, I don't know how they did that. That's that sort of matrixy fight scene, but I've yet to see anything better than it. And I've watched a few movies, a lot of Marvel movies and things like that, and for me they just don't compare. And anything you want to add before we say goodbye about this movie?
Not particularly.
How you made it through, the horribleness of this awful movie that you'd heard nothing but bad things about, and you still managed to sit there, and it didn't look like he even thought about leaving, he
Like once or twice, and then I forgot.
and
that was
because it was good, right? I mean,
No.
you can't lie. I mean, they're watching your face. They know if you sat through. Because this is a long movie, folks. It's like over 2 hours.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think it's almost 3, to be honest. I couldn't read the time because they printed it's 162 minutes.
That isn't actually.
It's like 2.5 hours.
Yes, that sounds right.
It's just, you know what? With the extra 162, I'm gonna round up. Okay, so it's almost 3 hours minus 28 minutes. Okay. Clearly, the guy doesn't want to admit that his old man was right. For once.
For once.
That this movie is amazing. There, every single moment about it is phenomenal, and I'm gonna I'm gonna be hard pressed to find a movie that I think is better than this. To be honest, I haven't seen anything since this came out that I would mark as better. It's dark, it's gritty, it's ugly, but at the end, it leaves you with that possibility of hope, right? With Rorschach's journal.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
I mean, because if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. And it's not the biggest glimmer of hope, but there's a little there. Because it ends pretty gruesomely, with
Yes.
with potentially the bad guy getting away scot-free, doing what he did, which was the worst crime ever imaginable, in literature other than
But isn't he also your favorite character?
Yeah, he is. Because of why he did what he did. I don't like him because he did it. I like him because he figured out a way. See, I grew up in 1980s fearing nuclear war. My old man was a prepper and a survivalist, and was constantly drilling into my head, how any minute that could happen. That we had the duck and cover drills to hide under a desk when the air raid sirens went off, and nuclear attack is coming. Get under your desk because that'll save you.
We will neither save you, nor do a single thing.
It's really just designed so we don't have to look at each other crying and pissing ourselves basically. But I grew up under the threat of that ever present cloud, and eventually it went away, and well, now it's back. But someone to think of a way to make that go away the way he did is what impressed me. Not that he went and did it, and not how he did it and all the horrible things, but that someone could think of a way to get mankind to come together and make peace, world peace. He achieved it but at a horrible cost. And that just that hit me hard when you get to that part and you realize that that's what happened, that's what it was all about, and just the force of will that it would take to do all those things. I'm glad it ended the way it did with Rorschach's journal, being discovered by someone who could then come out and tell the truth, and Veidt wouldn't get away scot-free and blah blah blah. But for me, it was just an amazing work of art, all just every minute of it. And before I go, I want to send out my condolences to our kind of new friend RPG Elite. I watched your video earlier today, and I know exactly what that's like. And just know that you'll see your friend again. And I think that's pretty much it, right?
Yes.
Unless you want to add something, last chance. If ever hold your peace, you're never going to get a chance to talk about this movie ever again in your whole life.
That's not true, and also I don't think that's necessary.
Okay.
I think I gave my only strong opinion in this movie.
He has a lot of opinions. But
okay, you may be entirely correct.
But?
No, you are entirely correct.
Well played. So, there you have it, folks. If you don't have the book, get the book. If you've only got the movie, hit us up in the chat and let us know what you thought of this, because I could talk about this movie all day long. But
he has. Several times.
Even today. So there you have it, folks. We hope you guys have a great day. We'll see you back again tomorrow, where I'll be doing a review of another superhero game. Not one that I was particularly fond of, but I do have some nice things to say about it. So until next time,
good night.
bye, everybody.